What's up? Think International. Sean here, thinking Now for Tomorrow with Darren Wilson, director of Finger of God, now Furious Love, and the up-and-coming film Father of Lights. This film's really impacted the whole world. It's just been seen internationally. It's caused a stir in the body of Christ. And how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good. Yeah.
Good. What has been the impact so far? How widespread, that initial film that came out how many years ago now?
Beginning of 2008 is when we released it.
And how widespread is it been?
Well, to date we've sold 75,000 copies.
Wow.
And I made the thing for $20,000. So we've made our money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we know that it's been seen at this point by millions of people around the world. It's been on multiple TV stations and stuff. So I have no idea what the impact has been. All I know is that people know who I am, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Jesus certainly didn't die, go through all his suffering so we could do church. I mean, let's face it, he had more in mind than us meeting once a week and tithing.
Jesus made a very profound statement, many, but one in particular. He said, "You will do the same works that I have done, and even greater."
John Wesley said, "Set yourself on fire for all to come and watch you burn." And I think some of it is creating a lifestyle where we deliberately set our cold, broken, stony hearts before the fire of his love.
It's the normal Christian life, and we're seeing that miracles really are normal. And Jesus was the most normal Christian in the Bible, and he modeled for us what life could be like.
If we're in Christ, all of us have the Holy Spirit. All of us have Christ living inside of us, the hope of glory. All of us have God communing with us.
My heart's desire is for people to meet the God of miracles. The purpose of the miracle is to meet the God of miracles.
Especially in Mozambique, Africa, because we have no entertainment, like we don't have television, we don't have malls, we have absolutely no outside input. Like the supernatural becomes the entertainment, because God's the most exciting, captivating being in the world.
And I just want to say to the Western Church that God is asking you to stop for one person every day and love them. Don't complicate the gospel. The gospel's all about love. It's good news. It's about being in love with God and loving the one in front of you. Keep it simple.
Stop believing that what you've seen or haven't seen doesn't exist just because it didn't start with you and didn't start with your church.
So what's crazy is that, and what I want to really focus on too for those watching, is that you really set out really kind of as, with not a big crew, with not a big budget, and God put something in your heart and you accomplished it. So I want to hit some practical things.
Sure.
For some takeaway for indie filmmakers, upstarts, etc. You mentioned the budget. What was the budget again?
I made the whole thing for about $20,000.
And how'd you fund it? Where'd you even get that?
Family and friends, basically. I would say a good close to 75% of that $20,000 came from my 93-year-old Mennonite grandmother.
Wow.
Grandma Edna in Minnesota just believed in her grandson and wanted to support my vision, and so she just kept sending me checks.
Wow.
And so that's really what put us over the top. But then we had my church was would give me like $2,000 or something like that, just in an offering, and so just lots of different things like that, where we would just have kind of people coming up and giving me money, because they believed in what I was doing.
That's amazing. And the total size of the crew?
1.
Wow.
It was me.
Yeah. Concept to completion.
Concept to completion. I filmed everything pretty much by myself, and then put the whole movie together in my living room. Had to teach myself Final Cut just to figure out how to put it together.
Yeah.
And then everything.
Amazing. So then, how did you initially distribute Finger of God in the beginning? How'd you get it out?
Yeah, I thought, I mean, it's a really strange movie. It's like kind of a weird little film, because I'm basically traveling the world trying to film the miraculous, you know, It's like not your everyday movie. So I thought it was like the weirdest thing ever made, and I didn't think anybody was ever going to watch this thing. So I just threw it up on Amazon. That was my whole marketing plan.
Yeah.
I think the combination of that with one of the ministries took a flyer on it and basically took it out with them, Iris Ministries.
Yeah.
Took it out with them when they went to different conferences and stuff. I think those two things kind of just lit the spark, and then it was pure word of mouth.
Wow. And so what would you say now, and now moving even into your second film, what are some tips for people just starting out to get their film out there? Some basic distribution?
Boy, distribution's, that's the tough one. I mean, it's everybody's problem. It's still our problem.
Yeah.
We've sold a ton of movies, but like, it's still a problem.
Sure.
Getting people to know that what you've created exists, to know that it's coming out. You just have to understand that a lot of the onus is on you to get it out.
Sure.
And so, you know, it gave me the idea. I remember when Iris went out, then I started approaching all the other ministries that were at least in the movie and say, hey, would you guys be interested? And eventually they all started kind of coming on board because they're in it.
Yeah.
And so they would do it, and that just kind of helped balloon things. And then things just started taking off. Once it reached kind of like a certain level, then it was just kind of, it was organic. It was on its own and just spreading.
Cool.
But really, you just got to get creative. You got, people aren't just going to watch it because, you know, you threw it up on Amazon. Like, there's got to be something more to it.
Right.
But you just got to be intentional. You got to try to get creative in how you're going to kind of approach people. Find people that are kind of sympathetic to maybe what your story is about.
Sure.
And try to get in their ear a little bit.
Make sure to subscribe to the Think International YouTube channel for more interviews, resources, and training videos. You can also visit our website at thinkintl.tv for more great content and sign up for our email list for news and updates. Think International, training the next generation of leaders and creatives. Now, you mentioned the ministries on the different people that were actually in it. Did you have those connections initially with the different ministries or pastors, or how did those come about?
Most of them I'd never even heard of, honestly. I didn't come from the world that I was filming, so I didn't know. I had heard of like a couple of them. Yeah. But basically, it was just I would meet one of them, and then they would say, "Hey, if you're making a movie about this, you got to go talk to this person." And if I was being referred to them from like Bill Johnson, then they're gonna that opens up doors. And so that's really how I found everybody, and it continues to this day how I find people, is I only work through referral.
Right.
Like, I don't deal with any ministry that comes to me, I'm not going to film it. So, it's all through like just word of mouth. I have friends that I really trust, and if they tell me that there's a ministry or there's somebody that I got to go meet, I'll drop $5,000 to get on a plane and go meet them and film them.
Wow, I love it.
So,
now, how does it work when making the film? Any kind of legal issues or contractual issues around the people that you film, and then owning the content by the time the film's published?
For me, it was just real simple. I just, they sign a release form and that's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Cool.
The release just gives me the right to use whatever I film. Let's rock and roll. And if they're into it, Finger was a little different because I was a nobody. Yeah. And nobody knew who I was, and I didn't even know what the film was that I was making. I would show up and they're like, "What's this movie about?" And I would have to say, like, I kind of don't know. I think it's about miracles. I literally would say, I think it's about miracles. Sure. Because it was my journey. I'm just going on a journey, And so they had to trust me. Yeah. But luckily, early on, I got some people in ministry who are very highly respected. And that really helped open doors for me that, like, wait, for instance, like if Bill Johnson, he was my first interview. Yeah. And it's like, if Bill Johnson trusts this kid, then I guess I can.
Sure.
And so that really, really helped. But yeah, once, basically just get them to sign the release form, and you can use whatever you want to use, you know.
Cool. And same question with the soundtrack. Where'd you pull that from, and kind of where'd you...
Yeah, I had to get creative because I had no money. So soundtrack for Finger came from, there's a friend of mine, actually a guy that I filmed in the movie, Georgian Banov.
Okay.
He had created a whole CD that was all instrumental. And I really liked it. I loved the music, and I thought it might go well. And I had no other options, really, because I'm like, I don't know anybody. I can't pay for anybody.
Yeah.
And so I was filming with them, and I just said, hey, I love this CD that you have, Caravan. Like, do you think I could, like, maybe use it for my movie?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, how much would, like, you charge? You know, I don't have a ton of money, but how much would you... And he's like, I'll just take it.
Yeah, wow.
You know, and I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, just use whatever you need.
That's amazing.
Like, and so I wound up using, like, the whole CD is my entire soundtrack. And so that's how we did it for Finger. And it's cool because once it took off, I was able to pay him still anyway. You
That's
know,
sweet.
Send him a nice little check just as a thank you.
Right.
But for Finger or for Furious, we have our own guy who does all our music now.
Cool, he's scoring it.
Yep.
I've seen Satan.
The powers of darkness rage blatantly here. I call it, Disneyland for the spirit world. But because of that, then the love of Christ rages even more.
For a year and a half, I traveled the world to some of the darkest spiritual climates on the planet with one goal: to put God's love to the test.
First of all, it's okay that you don't know something. And secondly, the real question is, how bad do you want to find out?
The church for so long has her head in the sand. See no evil, hear no evil, touch no evil, and we won't be evil, kind of. I think is kind of the idea. And yet so much pain and so much suffering is going on all around that the church is not even aware of.
I think we've made this relationship with God not about a relationship, but about meeting requirements.
On Valentine's Day 2010, the revolution begins.
William Booth said, the founder of the Salvation Army, church, do something.
And in this glimpse, like of a second, this little girl jumped through her skin and said, help me. And then the demon pulled her back.
¿Entiendes? Sí, hombre, sí. Yo me lo merezco. Yo he sido el que he venido aquí y el que he vuelto a probar la droga. Sí, hombre. Los que no se lo merecen son los míos.
All right. Let's see where I'm
Before I say all right, I have to ask you, which gods are you praying to?
What God am I praying to? I'm praying to the God in heaven. Yeah, who's everywhere.
But Jesus said, I'm the truth. Truth is not a teaching. Truth is a person.
If there was, would you kind of recommend somebody out there that's looking for the same thing to try to develop some kind of organic relationship if they don't have budget and they're...
Oh yeah, it's a great route, And there's a lot of people, you have to understand, there's a lot of people who are trying to break in that side too.
Right.
They want to break in, and so you got to just, there's places to go where you can find these people.
Sure.
And so you go to the film festivals and go to friends, like here, they're having a film festival on how to do music.
Right, right.
Be filled with people who want to do music. Go to those places and find somebody who wants to cut their teeth.
Right.
And you guys can work together and maybe build something.
That is great. So yeah, kind of finding strategic partnerships with other people that are just starting out and connecting. That's cool. Or
I just say use each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to use you. You're going to use me. Let's help each other out.
That's great. Now, were there any equipment issues along the way? Like when you just went out, you hit the road. How'd it go?
It was pretty good. I mean, what I had to do...
What equipment did you shoot it on?
I shot on a, what the heck was it? A PD-170. It's like a prosumer camera. It's nothing great, but it's a workhorse. But I used that because it was free.
Yeah.
I teach at a university, and I just borrowed the university's equipment.
Yeah, that's great.
And so I just took that's what I had. That's what I had. And I had to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
It took my very first interview. This is embarrassing to admit. My very first interview, it took me 5 minutes to figure out how to turn on the camera.
Yeah.
Like, that's how unprepared for this movie I was.
Wow.
Like, I just had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But, you got to persevere. And I just kept going and kept going. I knew this is what I was supposed to do.
I love that.
So
that is awesome. So now this is your first thing you set out. Was it possible that you made a few mistakes along the way?
Yeah, you could write a book on all the mistakes I made. One of the biggest ones I made was I was in Reading filming an entire day, and I'm filming the miraculous, like happening on the streets. My whole movie is doing this.
Yeah.
And I filmed the entire day with the sound turned off on the camera. So I couldn't use any of it.
Wow, yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is how stupid I am. Because this was so difficult because I was by myself.
Yeah.
And so I was everything. I was the sound guy, the DP.
Yeah.
I was I'm the interviewer. I had to think about everything. And a lot of times I would forget something.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would ruin my shoot. I mean, I shot in different aspect ratios, like all the time. You know what I mean? And so it's like you watch the original. If you get your hands on like the original pre-mastered.
Yeah.
Because I had a guy come in and remaster the whole thing and fix all my mistakes.
Yeah.
But you look at there's like 1,000 copies floating around out there where it's just like aspect ratios like changing constantly.
Wow.
Throughout the film because I didn't know how to ingest the footage. I was just an idiot.
Yeah. Wow.
So I made tons of mistakes.
So a few. How could someone maybe shortcut around some of those hardships you went through?
You gotta find. I would say you find somebody else to help you.
Yeah.
And if I didn't. My problem was I didn't have quite the budget to do that. But
like a mentorship.
I also just didn't know anybody else who could help me.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think if you're really getting into this, chances are you're probably surrounded by some other people who are at least interested in filmmaking and like want to, And so if it's about like raising money to go, if you have to go shoot overseas or something, then both of you raise money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And both of you go together and maybe like just form some type of a partnership. But just try not to do it by yourself.
That's good.
And just to have somebody else there to help you think of the things that you're forgetting is invaluable.
So then, 2 more questions. What would you say to those watching? Maybe some action steps. They've got a dream in their heart. God's given them a vision to do something.
Yeah.
What are the next couple things they should do to move forward on that? Maybe if they just need to get started very practically.
Sure. Biggest thing to do is don't look at the whole thing like in totality. Because it'll freak you out and you'll never be able to move
get
forward.
Overwhelmed.
I think I'm convinced part of the reason why I was able to do Fingers because I thought when I started that I was making a short film.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 15-minute film about weird stuff that Christians believe. That's what I thought the movie I was making when I started.
Sure.
And so, I didn't set out to make a feature film documentary.
Yeah.
I never would have done that. That would have been insane and like scary.
Yeah.
So I just started like one step, like I just gotta get 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I got my 15 minutes, but it's like there's these other compelling things that are coming up now. And so you just kept going from place to place to place. And so then I was like, oh, maybe this is a 45-minute film.
Yeah.
And then it turns into, I think I may have an hour film. Maybe I can get it on TV now.
Yeah.
And then it turns into, I've got a feature. Like, holy cow, I've got so much footage.
Yeah.
So that's really the biggest thing is like, really break it down into like very like easy steps and just don't look at the whole and just kind of just give yourself very like small slices to accomplish.
Yeah.
And it's when you kind of like you're creating a massive to-do list. It's just like just start checking off one of those things at a time. You're not going to shoot the whole thing in 2 days.
Right.
So take your time, chill out, relax, and just take one step at a time.
That's awesome. So then lastly, people want to follow what you're doing on the web, social media. Where are you guys at?
Yeah, our website is just real simple. It's wpfilm.com.
Cool.
And you can access kind of all of our different films that we're working on and see that stuff. Facebook is just Darren Wilson. You'll find me.
Yeah.
And then my Twitter feed is Wander Darren, because my production company is Wanderlust. So just Wander Darren, Darren, and yeah, you can follow what we're doing.
Well, thanks so much. Love what you're doing. Excited for up and coming Father of Lights.
Yeah.
And think international. Thinking now for tomorrow. See you later.
I shot an entire day in Redding, California. I'm filming miracles. I'm making a movie about miracles.
Yeah.
We go out on the streets, and I'm filming miracles happening. And I got back at the end of the day and realized that a shofar is being blown. That's a shofar. You're in Charismania when they're blowing shofars.